Welcome to Alberta Football Uncensored. I'm your host, Teej Johannesson. With me, as always, is my co-host, Omari Fraser. Omari, excited for this episode. Got a lot to cover. Obviously, Week 1 recap, Week 2 preview, and we're also at the same time doing the Bucs season preview with a little bit of recapping of their game as well. So I want to start right into your game, Omari. You know, I haven't watched any of the Bucs film yet. I was really more curious about that Jets Wolfpack game, and I gotta say, like, so when I did my Week 1 predictions on the Facebook page, I predicted pretty much that score of how it was. I thought maybe I was being a little bit generous, but I kind of just was like, you know, I haven't heard a whole lot from the Jets. What are they going to have at quarterback? I know they're going to have a good defense. I'd seen, you know, what and heard about obviously what you guys were doing, and I was pretty bang on in that one. And by the looks of it, you guys went up there with decent numbers and had the game pretty close there for a while. I think it was even closer than the final score. I got to say, like, from watching that film and, of course, like, doing this podcast, I just obviously put out bulletin board material. So this clip will just be, like, playing in the Cold Lake Jets locker room all season. But I wasn't super impressed with them. I was very impressed with you guys. I wasn't super impressed with Cold Lake. I mean, that offensive line is brutal. Like, either that or your defensive line is unreal, and I'm not sure, but it looked pretty porous, especially from what they've had in the past. The quarterback plays, you know, whatever. Outside of Rayshon Provo, they've never had a great quarterback and still been successful. So it is, you know, I think it was Dobbs who was doing it, who was their quarterback there. I could be wrong, could be another guy, but Dobbs is all right. I like the guy actually quite a bit on a personal level. He's not going to light anyone on fire or anything like that. Their defense is pretty good, but you guys were able to kind of put some points on the board, and I think Darryl threw a pick on that first drive. And but other than that, like, you guys were successful. How did you guys feel like as a team traveling to Cold Lake first week of the season? Like, that's probably the toughest trip of the year, having to go up there in that environment and play that team who's been so successful. Like, you guys must be feeling, I would imagine, pretty good after that one.
Yeah, we were feeling pretty good. Like, heading up to this game, we knew it had to be a statement game. I knew there's a lot of things on the line where, like, a lot of eyes on Wolfpack. Heading to Cold Lake on the first game, you never know. But we felt pretty good. Like, we had good numbers. Like, we just try to do things we can control. Have good numbers. We went up with 32, and we had notably about 5 guys who couldn't make it. Some had graduation, some had work, some had previous plans. All the stuff that comes up. But overall, went up with good numbers, and as well, we're happy with that. Got to go to the field, and I said, guys, look, you know, how much we don't want to say we're going to lose. For us who were vets, when we knew, like, hey, for us to win this game, a lot of things have to go right. And that was the thing, too, where, you know, having the team we have, I wouldn't say very young, but just very hyped about energy. And I knew, like, hey, this is going to be a game. We're going to find out what kind of team we are, what kind of guys we have on the team, what's going to happen when you get punched in the face, all those things. So it was really cool to see how guys responded, how reacted. You know, it was nice having a healthy Darryl. I know last season he had some health stuff. He's now fully healthy here. And just a case here too where just number wise, it's nice having numbers, because then guys can come on. 30 guys are good enough guys. Then we're striving for closer to 40 when they come here for home games. So that's a nice, like, I think, round number for everything to work out, where guys get playing time, operations get handled, all that stuff. But just when I look at the game, like, I like how we responded in the first half of the game. You know, I think we did get lucky with a couple calls, just with, like, I think the late hits on Darryl, maybe some I think it was offside. No offsides really. I think I don't know. There's a couple calls went in our favor. That was nice. Maybe lucky in a few, but overall we were moving the ball. If anything, that D line we were going against was, you know, like, from what we faced right now, like, definitely top tier. Like, they have number 9 from the elite. I'm missing his name here, but absolute dog to absolute, you know, go and fight with. Like, it was an absolute pleasure to go against him and Tremaine and Garlow. Like, you know, it was quite a top tier line. Like, you talk about trying to, all right, who are we gonna block? Well, you can't double everybody. I think if you look at the film, like, when we put our backup quarterback in, I'm like, okay, we're going 8-man box. Somebody finds somebody, and we're blocking everybody up. Like, just find somebody just because they were getting so much pressure. But Daryl was able to make a few things work. We had some young guys who stepped in. Number 3 for us, Alex McCacker-Ander. He fresh 18. He graduated on Tuesday, and he's playing Cold Lake here on Saturday. So we'll talk about a way to become a man.
Yeah, no shit.
So he had a nice little welcome to the AFL moment and everything, but overall, I was pretty happy with everything. Just only when it comes to the second quarter, the adjustments, and this is where like myself, Tim, Josh, we all knew like, all right, like the second half's coming. I can see adjustments coming. Special teams, I think they're going to get the ball here, and we saw it where they got big play after big play, and that kind of wiped away that momentum. I think we ended up getting it back, but at that point, the score was gone, and we feel that, hey, and this is now where with Wolfpack, we have to I've been really driving in on this, but like you have to practice specials if you're going to go against Cold Lake. You have to, because
you've been talking about it for 3 years on this podcast. Yeah.
I know Mike Cush probably saw on the RJI or FC's preview was like special, but it's true. Like, you know, we put guys out there who were, you know, trying to get reps, trying to get play, get acclimated to the game. I have a funny story about guys who are trying to get acclimated, but you know, you look at Cold Lake, they're pointing out guys who, you know, all potential starters. So a very different mentality there. But overall, it looked pretty good. Funny story about our D-line. We actually had 2 guys. This is funny because now we've had 2 guys, and I guess, Reggie, you guys will get to know this. 2 guys where one of the teammates, Elvis, he works a job site. These 2 guys come in from Czech Republic. Brand new to Canada, accent, everything. Elvis like, hey, you should come play some football. Brings him out. We get him gear, we get everything. That game was their 7th day in Canada. And number 54, his name's Andreas. He had 2 sacks.
And they've never played football at all?
Outside of a practice where we were just trying to show him the rules,
wow,
how to hit and everything. Like he came up and he lit it up. So it was funny just to see.
Did he enjoy it? Was he having a great time?
He said, this is what he said. He's like, it's like being in a movie.
Actually, yeah, you're right, because you've probably seen some football movies. That's good. Hey, that's a really cool story. Actually, that's really sweet. To like come to a new country and experience that for the first time and be like, especially if they're kind of physical guys and like get to just beat on people, would be pretty cool.
So I definitely thought it was quite fun for that. But overall, we felt good coming out of that game. We saw what kind of team we were. We competed well. And just knew, like, hey, we got to clean up a few things. We got exposed. You know, guys fought to the end, which I think is one thing where in the past it's always been tough to do, but that's been cool. And I think now, the Wolfpack stock is up. We're working our way up. I think we're trying to get to that, like, 40-man roster and have be a sweet spot there and just, you know, move week to week from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, theoretically, you should have a better showing, you know, later in the year with more prep when you have a full roster at home and they have to travel down. So I'm looking forward to that game. And, you know, it's kind of, I wish they would have put Cold Lake and the Gators twice against each other, just because obviously that's the 2 teams that were in the finals last year. It's kind of shitty that you guys, you know, have to get those guys twice, but at the same time also, I mean, you're going to get really good experience against those guys and kind of really see what you're made of. So I hope that the guys on your team feel energized with that performance. Like, obviously, there's going to be a lot of mistakes in that first game. Cold Lake's pretty gelled, like you said. They're well coached. They're going to make good adjustments. But you guys hung in there, and I think it surprised a lot of people, to be honest with you. So some stuff to look forward to. Who you guys got this week?
We got we got our guests as well, the Central Alberta Buccaneers.
Oh, you got the Bucs this week. Okay,
so
yeah.
This is nice because this is going to be a nice little week 1 recap, week 2 matchup, and season preview too. So I'm going to do my best here to get as much scouting information I can. I've watched a bit of film here, so I got to make sure my questions are decisive yet, you know, prying.
Yeah. That's good. So we'll jump into this. We've got Paul Jensen, Ruben Brayton back, and Corey Franchel from the Bucs. Paul Jensen is the chairman, second year on that job. So Paul, I'll kind of start with you. Thanks for coming on the show. We've known each other for a long time, played a lot of football together for for a lot of years now. You've been a member of this team. Now you're the top dog of the team, kind of running the show. What kind of got you into that? What was your motivation to take on this task? I know, like for me, it's not something I'd ever want to do. All the stress that kind of comes with running a team, and but what kind of was your motivation to do that, and how's that been going for you in kind of tough times for the Bucs with after the 2021 season? There was a lot of kind of exodus and guys leaving and moving on and retiring. So one, kind of what got you into that? What was your motivation to do it, and how have you been doing so far in your 2 years here?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So I guess first off, the way the team was looking when Mike took the spot in 2022, it was kind of thrust upon him there to take the job, and he was in school and had a family and whatnot, and I have the same thing. But in 2023, he just came up and he said, "There's really no one else." Like we had Connor as the vice chair at that point, and he was helping. So I was helping with sponsorship. So basically, I just said, well, when I was helping out in 2022, I was pretty much doing it all by myself, and I want a place to play football. So if that's what it's going to take, then I'll step up in there. And I mean, the transition was pretty seamless. I was already helping Mike a whole bunch 2022, so I stepped up in December of 2023, right at the beginning there, and I kind of helped him out there. And it's been a lot of work. It's been a grind. I don't know what it was like prior, but it's with the roster as small as it's been, and kind of the downturn of the roster and the way it's been after the high of that championship season. It's definitely been in the weeds, but it's been an awesome, good group of guys every year. It's been awesome, and it's all about football, right? So.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You know, it's really important that the Bucs and the Wolfpack who play this week are the two longest standing teams in the league, and that's something that we want to keep going. And the Bucs have 2010 they actually almost folded, and I think after 2021 it was a little bit iffy with a lot of veterans leaving. I went and played for the Wolfpack the following year, and that was basically a new team with new players and then I came back in 2023 and 2024, and actually 2023 was a pretty good year for us. We actually were pretty successful in that year and had a pretty solid team. Last year was a little bit different, which was kind of unfortunate, but I'm glad to see that they're still going. We've also got Corey French, and I want to ask you, Corey. So Corey played for Grand Prairie. What brought you to the Bucs? I mean, I know that, but for the listeners, what brought you to the Bucs? And then what's your kind of role on the team right now?
So I moved from Grand Prairie to Red Deer at the end of the season last year, and what brought me to the Bucs was I live in Red Deer now, and I want to keep playing football, coaching football, and my role on the team is defensive coordinator. I kind of have a few hats. I'm the VP defensive coordinator, and I also play middle linebacker for the team.
Yeah, so you're doing the play calling and the middle linebacker stuff, yeah, which is a feat of in itself, not always easy. And I know that your son's a pretty good football player. I got to have him in one of my camps, and I know he had a successful year, winning a provincial championship with the Hunting Hills Bantam team in Red Deer, which is pretty exciting. Were you helping coach Hunting Hills Bantam team?
Yeah, I was coordinating defense there as well.
Right. Okay. So my buddy that I golf with a lot, Chad Murray. Obviously, you
Yes.
know him.
Yeah,
He was helping coaching out
absolutely.
there too. Yeah, good guy. Our third guest is I almost want to say a kid, but he's not a kid anymore. But I've known him for a long time, since he was a kid. Somebody that I've coached since he was in Bantam, which was 2017, which was my first year coaching in Sylvan Lake, and then I coached him throughout high school. Ruben Breitenbach. Ruben, good to have you. Good to see you here. So talk to me and talk to the listeners a little bit about your journey. You came in after the 2021 season. You came 2022 when I was playing for the Wolfpack. You kind of gave me a concussion in that year, which I thought was kind of rude after all our relationship together. But
Well,
speak about kind of speak about your kind of time with the Bucs and what keeps you going and motivated to play.
Well, yeah, I just love playing football. I've played since I was 8 years old now, and it's been a long journey, but it's just such a big part of my life. that I think it'd be hard to not play, especially when we have a team right there. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like Paul was saying, we have such a great group of guys, and um, yeah, they're just a blast to be around.
And what are you playing this year? Are you doing slot back? Are you doing linebacker? Are you doing a bit of both?
No, thankfully I don't have to play defense this year,
What?
as of yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought you did pretty well last year at middle linebacker.
Hey,
So
I love playing backer and halfback. It was fun.
yeah, exactly. I saw freaking. I watched a little bit of your film and I saw Ashton Jones playing receiver. So it's just
Man,
like
he's a
It's like you
good
get in a candy
he's a
store
good
out
little
there, he's
wideout.
loving
He's
it.
good there.
I've known
He
Ashton
just
for a long
loves it.
time. Yeah, that's crazy.
Lighten it up.
I saw he made a catch early I think on your first drive, and he did a little sick little celly, and I was like, is that Ashton Jones playing receiver? I had to like rewind it and look again. I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit, I've known Ashton for a long time. Ruben, off that game this past week, what was kind of your overall thoughts of your team and the effort you guys put in? And obviously it was a loss of a result, but how are you feeling personally, and how are you feeling about the team kind of after that game and moving forward in the season?
I think we had a lot of upside in it. Considering like especially the weather. The weather was insane for that game.
Yeah.
Passing was like next to impossible out there. It was like 60-kilometer-an-hour winds. It
Yeah.
was absurd in the second half. But yeah, I think early on I thought we moved the ball quite well. And yeah, I think later on it just teetered off. But yeah, there's a lot of wins for us, I think, in it, and a lot of good things I saw from our offense.
Yeah, and you're playing with a couple guys that you played high school with. And so I coached you. I coached Brett Bilsma. I coached Warren there. How's that been for you? Obviously, playing all these years with Brett through Bantam, through high school, and now into Bucs. How's that experience for you?
Yeah, it's good. I think honestly this year he was one of my biggest motivators for coming back to play because I kind of considered not playing and I went back and forth with it, but yeah, Brett convinced me to come back and keep playing. So
Are you guys playing on the same
it's
side?
I love playing. No, we're split.
You split up? Okay.
He's on the
There you
weekend.
go.
Strong. Yeah.
There you go, Omari. Little tip.
Yeah, little tip. Write that down.
On the tape.
Yeah.
Corey, how it looked like your defense played really well. Obviously, I think their defense scored a couple touchdowns, so you guys didn't really give up much. How are you feeling about your defensive group? I know you've got some serious ballers out there. I mentioned Ashton Jones already. I love him as a corner. Guy just gets the job done. You got Teej, who's just an absolute dog and a warrior. I think Ethan Mackey's back playing with you guys a little bit before he goes to Wildcats. But how did you feel overall with that defensive group?
I was really happy with the defense as a whole. Of course, there's some improvements we could have made. Like we could have been forcing more turnovers. So there's always room for improvement. Like we're gonna improve it on in the next one. We'll be punching balls out. We'll be stripping. We'll be doing all the things that we need to do to win that turnover battle. As far as I'm concerned, we won every other aspect of that in the game. So like we lost turnovers, everything else we won. So we had more offense, more offensive yards, more points on offense. We won the special teams. I think we gave up 3 first downs in the whole game, I believe.
Wow.
And yeah, no points on defense. Like, you got to give it up to the Cowboys. They showed up. They won that turnover battle. But other than that, like, I feel like that was our game to win.
And who, obviously I've kind of mentioned some guys that have played before, but are there any new guys on the defense, new to the team this year that looked good or that you're excited about?
I'm going to name one. I'm going to jump in. Jackson Jones, linebacker
Absolutely.
number 51. I think he was in almost every play dude caused riots in there out of Stettler. Playing linebacker there, he was filling holes and making hard hits. The only guy who was trying to hit harder than him was Kelly Page.
Kelly's back too? Yeah,
They
Kelly.
have Clayton too.
Yeah. Clayton, what's his? Oh, wow.
The
There's
Page
more of them.
trio.
Three Page
trio,
brothers, yeah.
Damn. Okay. All right. And the what was the kid's name? Jones. What was his first name?
Jackson
Jackson.
Jones.
No relation to Ashton, obviously. He's from Stettler. So how did you guys find him, or how did he find you?
Coach Desmond, our OC, he's from the Stettler area, and I think he has brought us about 5 or 6 guys out of the Stettler area so far. And he's one
Well,
of them.
yeah. So that's really good to hear. From my perspective, like I think the Bucs have an opportunity, and I've kind of always thought this. There's really good football around Central Alberta. You know, even from places like Rocky Mountain House to Stettler, to obviously Sylvan Lake and Red Deer itself. But there's a lot of places where I think that maybe players don't know about the Bucs or haven't heard about the league. So I've made this no secret, but my plan is to go back to the Bucs next year and retire as a Bucs and have my daughter come watch me on the Bucs. And I think that's something that I'm going to be really focused on once this season is over and coming back to that of just getting out and getting the word out, because, you know, Stettler, they're in our league. Like I coach at HA Cody in Sylvan Lake, and actually with Ruben's dad. Ruben's dad's been the head coach there every year up until this year when he's decided to take a step back and kind of help out in an assistant kind of role. But I think that Stettler team has always been really good. They've always produced like legitimate ballers who know how to play the game and play hard. Like I actually hate them. I hate Stettler. I hate everything about them. I hate their jerseys. I hate their field. I hate them, but I also kind of hate them because they're good and they play hard and they play. They don't play to the whistle. They even play after the whistle, which is a little bit whatever. But it's good to kind of get those guys. And so you mentioned Coach Desmond. I don't know anything about him. Kind of how did you come across Coach Desmond? Kind of what's his role on the team, and what's he kind of up to on the Bucs?
So Colton came back from the Kodiaks.
Right,
He's
offensive lineman. Yeah,
tackle for us, and his dad was bugging him about coming out to play O-line with him, just as a joke. And he's like, "No, but they're struggling to find coaches. So how about you come out and be the offensive coordinator?" And that was it. He was hooked.
yeah. Oh,
Day
wicked.
after, he was messaging me, looking to get into huddle, looking to make playbooks, wanting to find out what our roster looked like, what was going to happen there, and right off the hop, he just jumped right in and took that OC spot by the horns, and he's ran with it basically for the last 6 weeks, 2 months.
Good, and that sounds like he's committed, which is awesome. And I believe you have another coach, Garner Kolibaba. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's coaching DBs. He helps Corey out as an assistant there, and he's kind of taken on our special teams personnel role. He's
Nice.
kind of a guy on the sideline there to make sure that we're situated right. He's a utility coach. Like at halftime in that first game, he just went in there and went John Madden on us. He just went right at us. No one was expecting it, but it was exactly what we needed. So he's kind of that utility guy for us. He's helping out where he's needed, but
He went John Madden. That's
it
good.
was legendary. Like I wish I would
Yeah,
have
that
recorded it.
was that was the craziest speech I've ever heard. That was unbelievable.
He like, looked into Ruben's soul and just called him out.
Oh
Like,
my
He's
goodness.
he's a fairly quiet guy too, in general. Like, he's
Yeah.
pretty
I
quiet,
I
man.
only
He's
know
came
him
out
as
of nowhere.
quiet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Came out of
I've
nowhere.
known Garner. I've known Garner for a while. He's coached at Lacombe High School for a while and been around football for a long time. So that's surprising to hear. But I mean, I kind of love that. Like, you know, one of the main reasons. Well, actually, the only reason I left the Bucs was because at the time you didn't have coaches, and I didn't want to be a player coach, and so I went to Airdrie because they had 7 coaches, and I kind of like that. Like I personally, me as a coach, I'm not really that guy. Like I'm not a big screamer and a yeller, and I'm not even really a big kind of motivational speech guy. I'm pretty fiery on the field in kind of different ways, but not so much like that. But I kind of like that. It kind of like, especially from a guy that you don't expect it from, you know, and it's like, whoa, wait a sec. Okay, I'm going to listen to this guy now, right? Because he's speaking up when he doesn't usually speak up. And it's one thing if you've got like, you know, and we've all had these coaches that all they do is scream at people all the time. And so you just eventually tune them out because you're like, oh, there's dick fuck over there just screaming at people again. But when it's a guy that's quiet, you're just like, oh, okay, I'm listening to that. So that's cool to hear. Omari, you back?
Yeah, I'm back at
Okay, go
slight
ahead. You
internet
got anything really good?
issues here, but yeah, no. So I was gonna say, Teej, with you being now 2 week bye with Irish, hearing that some coaches now at Bucks, Could this game sway you to play closer to home?
Well, I'll tell you what. If the coaches were in place by the, I think I decided to leave it near the end of March. If there were coaches in place, I would still be playing for the Bucs. Look, I've played 13 seasons with the Bucs. I love everything about the Bucs. I am always going to say I'm the Bucs. I'll probably never mention that I played for any other team if anyone asks me. But I'm sad about it. I definitely am sad about it. Again, I've kind of stated like it's not. I love to win, but it's not really about winning. Like I loved playing with Ruben. I loved playing with Brett. Like these guys, like coaching them and then playing them was just like a highlight of my life, right? And I want my daughter to watch me play football and to play on the Bucs. So I'll be back there. I'm not going to go back there this year. I've committed to Airdrie, and I'm not that guy. Like I don't want to let people down when I've made that commitment, and we've got good things going. So I'm definitely gonna stay in Airdrie, but I do wish, I wish that the coaches were in place before, and that's nobody's fault. Like Paul tried really hard, I tried really hard. Like I was messaging people all over the place, like, can you come coach? I just can't be a player coach again. It's just too much. And I kind of dealt with there were some dickheads on the Bucs a couple years ago that I just like couldn't handle, and like they would just bitch and whine about everything, and like it just got annoying. And not anyone on this panel, these guys aren't even on the Bucs anymore, but so that got annoying, and so I needed to not be a player coach. But I wish it would have been in place beforehand, but it is what it is. So no, I'm going to stick with Airdrie and fulfill that commitment for this year.
And I guess here's before I dive into like my questions for each person, like I guess this is a question out for everybody. What's the best way then for say any team, Bucs, I can mention Wolfpack, Irish, like what's the best way for us to keep the momentum high heading into off season? Because I feel like now, men's league, we're not signed to any year-long contracts, 2-year contracts. I always find that there's a decline of interest, or just like season's done, there's this relief of like, okay, no more practices, no more games, whatever. But the questions of like, oh, next year, and I feel like every man has to have that conversation between themselves, their families, their careers of like, hey, can I commit to the season? But I always find that November, December, October time is a very flux time for a lot of people. And Paul, I'll ask you first, just as being like part of leadership of the Bucs, like are there things that you've tried to do to help keep momentum high, things more stable, just selling guys in the future? Because that's always been a flux I find in the AFL.
Yeah, so last year was the first year I really dove into just trying to bring the culture of the Bucs back. And what we actually did is the field we have in Lacombe we book from April until the end of August. And unfortunately, for the last 4 years, we haven't played football in August. So what we've been trying to do is utilize that as the beginning of off-season workouts right there. We take off the pads and we just keep getting the work in until the end of August to try and keep the group together as long as possible, and then starting our winter workouts a bit earlier too. Last year and this year we started them in January, as early as January. So the key for some of our guys is let them go and work their jobs as much as they can from September until December, maybe even January, and then just keep everyone in the chat and get them hyped about the season as soon as possible without starting it too soon where you lose that momentum. And I think having coaches and a core group of guys in place will make that a lot easier. And we've been building that over the last 4 years, right? We've had guys right out of high school, we've had young guys. So having those young guys develop, become 3-4 year vets in the league, and then they can speak on their experience. Ruben is a captain for us this year. He's developed the experience needed to speak on behalf of the team and get guys excited about that stuff. So it's unfortunate, but it really does take time, especially after the turnaround that we had after 21. There's going to be those 3-4 years of grinding where you're putting 18 to 20 guys on the field and you're just basically paying the bills and getting the season in. And then we're now in a spot where we have the coaches and we have the leadership to go a little bit further into our off season to get guys working and get them excited, so that we keep our guys around and don't have that big turnover that some teams struggle with.
That's huge. I like that answer. And, Ruben, what would you say has been your thing that you've liked so far heading from the off season into now AFC? Because this is now your third year,
Uh, yeah,
Fourth.
this will be my
fourth,
fourth this year. Yeah.
fourth. Nice. And what can you speak on as a player now, outside of leadership, now entering the captaincy, that you've noticed, or like that you've noticed?
Yeah, like I think a big thing in the off season is always recruiting guys. Like, um, it's for me, it's texting a lot of people that I've played with over the years, like in and around Sylvan, and reaching out and trying to get guys to come out to those winter workouts. Um, Unfortunately, I couldn't go to them this year. I was in school, but like still, it's just always recruiting and always trying to find new guys to add to the crew. But um, yeah, like I said, I think we have a great core group of guys, and I think that is a big part of bringing new people in as well.
Oh, nice. And then Teej, I'll let you answer that question there, and I got a separate question here for Corey.
Yeah, I actually I really like what Paul said. I think trying to keep the momentum going after the season, and then the big thing for me, and the thing that I'm going to be putting a lot of like, okay, so if these coaches stick around for next year, that's phenomenal. Like I'm really looking forward to that. If you have coaches in place early, you can build a culture early, and they can hold guys accountable, and people, like, I know myself, like if we've got coaches that are like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna maybe it's team workouts in September at the Gary Harris Center in Red Deer, which has a track, right? Like little things like that just kind of keep guys. Let's see each other a couple times a month. You know what I mean? And when you see each other, you talk about football and you talk about the excitement. And then maybe when we're there, we find some guy that we can recruit there, or maybe we can talk to the people at the desk and put up a poster or something like that. These are just like little ideas that I've had over the time, and in thinking about what I kind of want to do for next year, because I want to build a roster of 50 guys. I want to have a roster of 4 to 5 coaches that are committed, and I think doing those types of things a couple times a month, team workouts, at a place, we've got like I said, a great place in Red Deer called the Gary Harris, which is attached to the Red Deer College, that has a track and has a weight room and has a basketball gym that we can do different stuff in, and that has a lot of open gym time. So I think just kind of piggybacking on what Paul said, is keeping people together and keeping people excited and keeping people motivated. And I know for me, it's going to be a big recruiting push when I coach high school football this year. My plan is to, after every game, find the grade 12s on those teams, and I don't care how good they are. Let's get numbers, right? Let's get numbers first, and then talent second, and then that'll kind of follow. So I'm going to be doing the best that I can to build up the players, and I think having coaches is the biggest aspect that we can have. That's just kind of the way it is. So I think little things like that are really big for teams, keeping guys involved, because like you said, Omari, like if you go 4, 5, 6 months and you don't see any of your teammates, and there's no activities together, and nobody's talking about the season, and then all of a sudden winter workouts come out and you get 16 guys at the winter workouts because no one's been talking about it. But imagine if in September you met once a week as a team workout, and then in October you met once a week, in November you met once a week, and December you met once a week. And then all of a sudden it's like maybe that's up to 20 guys that are coming to these team workouts, and then it's like, hey, we're right into winter workouts in January and February, and then March we do a couple more team workouts, and then bang, April we're outdoors, right? So that would be kind of my idea, just like kind of Paul said, just really keeping the momentum going and keeping those coaches attached to the team, so we can really build that roster. So that's what I'm going to at least be trying to do.
I love that, and I think that's definitely a big. That's a good answer. I think every team tries to find their way around it, and I think for Wolfpack, I know it's one thing which we this last off season there wasn't much talk. I definitely wasn't part of it, but then if anything, my efforts really started to show last 2 weeks, and then I had Tim, Josh, Logan, Daryl all really kick in there to help things out there. So Corey, my question for you: I know you were number 10. Tell me a bit about your philosophy with a 3-4 defense. I want to hear some of your mindset with as a DC here.
Okay, I'll definitely get into that, but do you mind if I just quickly touch base on the last question?
Absolutely.
So I think a big part of keeping things together actually starts now in the season, building a culture of accountability and brotherhood. Like we need to be close now, and then we can continue that on through the off season. Like you got to care about each other through the season first, otherwise people just lose touch. And honestly, fantasy football, like get into that team fantasy football leagues. You stay in contact all winter.
That's a
Everybody's
great
speaking.
idea.
They're all talking. We're all, you know, like I went to Phoenix last year with probably 10 of my teammates. And we did a draft there. So, and we'll do something again this
That
year.
might be the gold nugget right there, Corey. That's a gold nugget right there.
But as far as 3-4 defense, I love 3-4 because it gives you a lot of flexibility. Um, like not only can you just throw another lineman there if you need and make it a 4-3, but it also creates a lot of outside contain, blitzing capabilities. It just adds a lot of options. I just prefer it. It just you can really create a lot of options with less personnel or a different variety of personnel.
Because that's one thing I've always noticed going against a 3-4 is just like there's an extra like step for the offensive lineman to process out their blocks. Where I find that it's like okay, like you can always draw it up, but when you're heat the battle, you're lining up, things are moving, things are shifting, responsibilities get switched around. It's such an easy defense just to get confused on, and then defense just eat up on it because then a lot of athletic guys that flow around and
And it's just like, honestly, it's a lot of fun too. It's just a lot of fun.
yeah.
I'm actually so this is funny because, and Ruben might know this a little bit, but I'm a defensive coordinator at my high school, and I almost exclusively have run a 3-4 defense with my high school, and it's very similar to what Corey said. It's funny that we don't see a lot of 3-4, like, and I don't see a lot of 3-4 in the high school league either. I've always loved the 3-4 because, well, to be honest with you, my first year at DC for the Lakers, I didn't have more than 3 linemen that I could trust to put on the field, so I was kind of forced to run a 3-4, and I had a ton of linebackers, so I ran a 3-4, and then just kind of fell in love with it because you can be really creative with it. Like, and for me, like as a coach, I love being creative. I love doing crazy shit. I do some stuff that I've never seen before. I just like draw it up on a page and try it out in games. And I love it. Like I can put different people in different spots, and I can shrink the line to play really tight. I can widen the line to play really wide. I can send blitzers all over the place. And like when you've got 4 linebackers, you can run some really cool like twist blitzes and delayed blitzes, and you can run halfback blitzes a lot, and it's much easier to bump those linebackers out. When you're playing a 3-4 in a second and long situation, your outside backers really get to the hook to curls. Like I noticed again when the Jets played you guys, Omari, you guys gave up a lot of hooks, and it's because your linebackers aren't flaring to their zone properly. Now there's a couple things your linebackers need to locate instead of just dropping back and staring at the quarterback. That's a tip for your defensive linebackers. You got to turn and locate. This is another thing that annoys me with even in the CFL and NFL. Like linebackers are dropping to zones while staring at the quarterback instead of dropping to zones and locating the guys that are going to come into their zones. But anyways, that's besides the point. Those linebackers in a 3-4, those outside backers don't have to move very far to get to those hook zones, and so you take away those hooks in 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, stuff like that. So I love the 3-4 defense. When I saw the couple clips I watched for the Bucs, when I saw them doing that, I was like, that's sweet because you just don't see a lot of that. Edmonton ran a little bit of it, but it wasn't really a true 3-4 because they would basically blitz the 4th lineman every single time, and it would basically be a 4-3 after the snap. They just basically took a lineman and dropped him back and blitzed him. But I love the 3-4, and that's what I've almost always run exclusively with my high school team.
To follow that before I pass it back to you, Teej, is just Paul. We do have Daryl playing. I remember you saying this last year as we went to halftime. Like Daryl came out, and I remember you being like, "Oh, Daryl's throwing. I'm not rushing anymore. Ball's gonna get out in like 2 seconds." Is that the case?
I did say that.
I remember that because Daryl didn't start that game, and then you guys he's like, "Fuck this, I'm going in."
Yeah.
At halftime, as soon as I saw him, I was like, if we send one guy in a blitz, like, you're getting benched. Like, there's no point.
Yeah.
Absolutely no point. We're going to send 4 guys and that's it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
still carved us up on like 3 consecutive drives. If we hadn't put up 35 points, it would have been dangerous.
Yeah. That was my best game as a quarterback, and then it was just all downhill from there.
Yeah. I've only been around for 10 years, but it didn't take half of that to find out how to play
Yeah.
smart
Yeah.
against Daryl.
So this is where I'm very, very excited for our upcoming matchup here because, we face each other here this upcoming Saturday here, 7:00, Saturday at Hillard Field, and this is going to be a fun game, but as well a game I think, especially from how last year ended. Playoffs, I think we both learned from how last year worked out to where I guess like Wolfpack, we were able to make playoffs. You guys were able to make playoffs. I think we both learned to where like you guys got lucky, we got unlucky. Like all these games matter because the tiebreaker kicks in, and you need to have every single point to go for playoffs because we're in a six-man bracket or a 16 bracket or 5-team bracket.
6 teams, and I think the top 2 will get byes, and so 3 will play 6 and 4 will play 5. So
yeah, so lots to dictate here, and it's gonna be an exciting time. But yeah, I'll let Teej I'll let you take it back here.
Yeah. So Ruben, I guess I'll start with you. We'll talk about the kind of the preview. What have you seen? Have you had a chance to watch the Wolfpack film? What are you kind of looking forward to in this game? Obviously, the Bucs and the Wolfpack have had a long-standing rivalry. When I first came in the league, it was a young Daryl Eason. Oh, I don't know if he was young, but a younger Daryl Eason ripping up the Bucs, 50 points a game. And then slowly we started taking back, but they're always great games. I think it's going to be really competitive. What are you kind of seeing from them, and what are you looking forward to traveling to Calgary, first road game of the year?
I've only had a chance to watch a little bit of the film so far. I was gonna do it after this, but um, yeah, I think like even watching what I've seen of that film, I was like you guys said surprised by what I saw, especially with how well like Omari, you guys in the Wolfpack did against what I thought would be another really good Cold Lake team after the last couple years that they've had. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to I don't think we're um like an explosive offense necessarily yet. I think we're working towards that right now, but um yeah, I think we'll be able to chip away at it and take what we can get.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a great way to say it. Take what you can get against those guys. That's an improved Wolfpack defense. It's the first Bucks Wolfpack game I haven't been involved in my life, actually, because I was a part of it for the Bucks, and then I was a part of it for the Wolfpack, and I've won every time. So I don't know, except very earlier in my career. But I'm really interested to see kind of how that game goes. And Omari, I'm assuming you're probably going to live stream that one.
Yeah, I got a guy to live stream that game, so it'll be done through the phone, but at least then everyone will be able to see the game, get it live streamed, and get it out. Because I feel like the live streams are really taken off to where everyone likes to tune into them, watch on the side, and great way to get instant feedback of how the games are going.
Yeah, I think the Gators are probably playing around the same time. They're hosting the Jets, I believe. So
they are. So the Jets are also in town at 5 on Stampeder Field. So
wow.
If you're in Calgary, it's a great time to be in Calgary because you're going to have AFL action 5 p.m. and then 7 p.m. So one of my goals is to try and get the news to come out, try and do a little coverage on it. Like you'll see, I need to get a connection inside to like this local news channels, but right now it's just emails. But it'd be good to try and get some coverage there because
that'd be really sweet.
An AFL weekend. I think Calgary's going to be able to host 2 to 3 of those, where I believe it's Calgary. Yeah, because I think this weekend and the following weekend, not the bye. We have a bye the following week, but then the week where we play the Cold Lake again. It's gonna be like 3 games happening around the Calgary area. So or maybe 2 again, but like just a lot of those things where like a lot of teams come to Calgary. So that's really nice. nice thing there to have happen here. But
yeah, we've got the Gators twice, and one of them's in Calgary. Obviously, one of them's in Airdrie. But I think that's cool. I mean, like if I didn't have a new baby at home, I would definitely be driving down to catch both those games. But I think it'd be kind of cool. Like you might you're gonna kind of like, so your game's at 7, theirs is at 5, so you could probably catch the first quarter of that game before you head off to your field and get ready for your game too.
Yeah, I'll try and get taped up nice and early, watch a bit of it, and then go, because I think everyone's gunning to see that game, and that's kind of how. Like, I know everyone's saying like, the game was close and everything, but I also truly feel that Cold Lake didn't do anything too special. Like, if anything, it was going to be a very physical game, physicality, and just if anything, running the ball, which they did a great job of. Because with their game against the Gators coming up, I think we all know they want their get back. They want their get back. So talk about,
they're going to be hyped up.
Yeah, that's going to be a hyped up game. I bet you, no matter what excuses came up, it's like, no, everyone's packing this bus, everyone's packing in cars. We're all making this trip, because that's going to be a game to watch, because Gators coming off of their preseason action against Okanagan Sun, which I heard was a great game, good battles on both sides, and now, it was a very smart move by Kurt to have set up that kind of game, because now the Gators, they're ready for a Cold Lake team, and same thing for Cold Lake, they're ready now for a Gators game. So both teams have had their preseason matchups, first game matchup, preseason matchup, and ready to go at it. I think, Paul, I know you texted me saying what time that game was, but I think it's 5. So I take it some of the Bucs are gonna try and make it down for that game too, right?
Yeah, we have a few guys that are gonna come out and try and get there early, but we're gonna be taping right at 5, so we'll have guys that'll try and get in after some early taping. But we're gonna.
It's wonderful for me because I just get to sit back on another bye week and get all this wonderful film, and you guys can all kick the shit out of each other, and it's kind of it sucks because I'm like itching to get and play, but I've been able to golf a lot, which is good, and now I get to watch lots of film and be ultra prepared. We've got the Gators twice this year, so that's going to be a good test for us. And I think like Cold Lake I think they might get whooped, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're going to score like on that Gators defense or score very much. Like I was not in the Cold Lake defense is legit, obviously. Like they've got some really good players. I think their field side corner is kind of lazy, and I think you can pick on him a little bit. Here we go. That's going to play in their locker room all season long too. But I just call it as it is. Their D line's freaking ridiculous. Like I don't even know what you do against those guys except play 70 protection all game and just pray. But I don't like their offense. I don't really like their receivers. Their running back, he was big, but he's not running away from anybody by any means. And their quarterback play is just kind of average, right? So I don't know if they're going to score very many points against that Calgary Gators defense. And the Calgary offense is going to score points. Like I know that Jets team is good, but you're talking about Chris Merchant, who's a freaking Heck Crichton winner and can also run. Such a different quarterback from Jordan Heatherhay. Jordan's very precision, right? Like throws the ball unbelievably well, and Chris can throw the ball too, but he can move and he can run. I wouldn't be surprised. I think my prediction might be Gators by 21. To be honest with you, I think like 28-10, something like that wouldn't surprise me. But I do hope it's closer. I hope it's a good game, and I'm really looking forward to it. Corey, have you watched any of the Wolfpack film? What do you kind of, obviously without giving away too many secrets to Omari, but what are you kind of keying on for your defense this week after a really good game in the first week of the season?
Here, I'll plug my ears, right?
Yeah, I've watched quite a bit of film. Don't want to talk a whole lot about it, but of course we're going to be respecting Daryl quite a bit, and yeah, that's we'll just leave it at that.
So you're playing two safeties, is what I'm hearing.
Adam Good can sit back there all by himself.
Is Adam playing safety? Okay, yeah,
we're definitely keying on some weaknesses we see, and we'll be prepared. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I believe that, and I think this could be a defensive battle. The Bucs offense obviously struggled in tough conditions. And so I think this could be like I predicted 7-7 last week for GP with defensive touchdowns, and I was right on the defensive touchdowns, and I was right with the Bucs points. But Ruben commented and said that was wild, which I think was kind of funny, but I was kind of close with it. But I predict probably, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a 14-7, 14-10 like game. I hate picking field goal games because I don't know which teams actually have kickers in this league anymore, so it's always weird to like pick field goals because like, does anyone actually have kickers? I don't know.
The Gators.
The Gators, yeah.
They have ideas.
We have two actually. I went to the Irish had a scrimmage on Saturday, an inter-squad scrimmage, and obviously I kick, but there was this other guy too who was a really good kicker. So we actually have a couple of them, which is kind of nice. Okay. Before we kind of wrap up, 9:27. Okay, I got to give my baby a bath here right away, or so might get in big trouble here. Omar, you got anything else before we wrap up?
I just want to hear. I think you guys are driving down, so I just want to ask a question out to the Bucs guys. Like, what's the pregame audiobook, podcast, soundtrack being played as they're making their way down to Calgary?
Ruben is freaking heavy metal or something like that. I don't know. It's freaking weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I like some heavy rock. Yeah, I'll play on some Metallica or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I like to drive up to an AFU podcast, but
hell yeah, that's the best answer we've had on this podcast. That's exactly what you're gonna drive up to. That's perfect.
Last year when we had those long drive games, I was like, there better be a new episode out today because
I love that.
I don't know what I'm gonna do because that's an hour and 15 minutes of someone who's gonna be really upset at Teej.
Oh my god, that is great. You know what, Omari? That's why I love this podcast, because I actually get that quite a bit. I get that people listen to it on road trips. They listen to it while they're at work, and honestly, look, it warms a guy's heart. I know maybe sometimes I come off as a little on the podcast. I kind of put on a personality, a little bit of a dick sometimes, but it's just for fun. I'm actually a pretty soft guy, and that warms my heart to hear that, and that's why we do it. That's honestly why we do it. So I appreciate that, Paul.
I won't be afraid to admit it. Like, I'm like on my Spotify all the time, and as soon as that episode's out, I was like, I gotta listen, because I guarantee you, as leadership on the Bucs, if I don't listen to it, someone's gonna ask me about it, and I'm gonna have to answer a question for it. I was like, as soon as it comes out, I'm listening. Like, who's gonna be upset now? Who's
oh my
excited
god,
about,
fuck, that's so good. Awesome.
Hey, Corey, what about yourself?
Same thing. I usually listen to the podcast if I haven't listened to it yet. I enjoy it. It's always good to get, amped up listening to football stuff about the league. But I will say I won't be listening to this one because I don't want to hear myself talking. So I'll probably be listening to the Book of Joshua.
We have RD News now and the Advocate, always looking for little snippets of comments preseason, so every year I'm just trying to hand it off. So it's definitely a good thing to have for a team, like the news outlets that are after you. But this year I was able to pawn off both of them, so that was really excited. I got Cody Curry to do RD's Now, and I got Corey to do the Advocate for me, so I was excited about that.
Wicked.
What and then just before we wrap up here too, I want to give you guys a chance to, because I always feel like Central Alberta has a big standing supporters of a lot of sponsors that help out the team. So I know we typically don't do free plugs here, but I feel like for Central Alberta, it's an integral part of the community. Anyone you want to shout out on the sponsorship side to help support the team?
Actually, Tony Morelli, his business Safe Tracks GPS, the last 2 years they've come in pretty large, helping us out.
Is Tony playing this year, Paul?
No.
Oh.
He started Life Assist. He branched off of Safe Tracks, so he's been busy buying motorcycles, riding around in the summer and doing that. So, and then Bailey Photography, we've been getting our photos for the last 2 years, and they're sensational. Like the amount of help we get for our social media posts and how much those photos boosts our platform it's integral to our success away from the field, which, I mean, for the last 8 years, the first 8 years, I really couldn't care, but now being on leadership, you kind of see what kind of impact that has not only for recruiting but in the stands to make that money, right? So yeah, those two guys have been pretty key for us for the last couple of years.
Yeah, wait, so you mean to tell me Mr. Tony Morelli, Mr. Hands Out Therapy Sessions to oncoming linebackers and fullbacks is not playing? Man, therapists are about to see a decline in their budgets. They're going to be like, oh, all these full players aren't coming to me. Like, what's happening?
I told him to go box with Graham because Graham started boxing.
Oh God, that would be interesting to see. You know what? That's Omari. You have a great memory because that was one of the finer moments in our podcast history was Tony Morelli's episode last year. That was good stuff.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the six folly because I think he said that, and then I think we played the game, and he absolutely destroyed. He went. I remember him just like saying like, "All right, I'm going on." Someone comes off, he goes to safety, and then one of our receivers caught like a wide receiver screen, goes inside, and absolutely gets leveled by Tony.
He's playing middle linebacker. He just dropped
back
like 15 yards.
Yeah.
He was supposed to play middle linebacker, and he was beside our safety.
Yeah.
He just turned, saw the slant coming across deep, and just head down right into him. He had no idea what he was doing. Like, he ran out there.
And for me too, it was slow mo because I'm on the sideline. I'm watching this. I'm like, Tony's running in. We should keep an eye on that. And the play call happened because this is when we were running in plays in and out. And I was like, okay, like hopefully they see this. And he's running back. Oh, go outside. Oh, nope. Yeah, that's a hit. That's some therapy.
Yeah, that's when he's not forgetting.
From the difference when in high school, he was a little bit of a bigger boy, so being out there running around, throwing his weight around a bit, he enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, he was a freaking offensive lineman in high school. It's crazy.
You haven't seen the last of him. It's just, it's not goodbye. It's just see you later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. That's good.
And I'd imagine, too, like I think there's a couple guys in the league who've had, life choices or, like, things that have come up, like career advances. I know Heather with work. Sounds like Tony's business is doing well. I'm sure other guys have had stuff where it's just like, hey, I can't play this season, but I'll be around. So, like, glad to hear that things are growing for him and, things like that. Those pursuits help support this, which, you always got to give guys the space to do that.
And hey, I know Tony listens to the podcast. He loves it. So Tony, best of luck and come back and give some therapy next year because the league needs you. Actually, I'm pumped. To be honest with you, so the original plan was for me to play receiver for the Irish, but through some life circumstances, I just can't make it out to practice. So I'm just going to come be a game day corner. And for my own safety, I'm glad he's not playing. Like, I've seen that in practice, and I'm like, no, don't really want any part of that. It's not my thing. I mean, freaking Ruben, when he was like 50 pounds lighter, almost gave me a concussion. So I don't know. It's not, I'm not having that. So yeah, I'm happy.
I realized very quickly you need a little bit more weight in this league.
Yeah, you do. You do. Well, guys, I really appreciate it. It's good to see you all. Good to see you, Rubes and Paul and Corey. I wish you the best of luck this week in what used to be the AFU Podcast Bowl, but it's not anymore. So I'll be looking forward to seeing a good game and wish everybody safe travels and a safe drive and safe playing in the game. And good luck to both of you guys. Omari, go ahead and close us out.
Hey, appreciate you guys coming on. Looking forward to seeing you guys as well here upcoming week. And it's also awesome to hear that, organization-wise, things are strong and moving forward and growing because we've experienced some, closures of some teams and foldings, but it's nice to see teams that are established, like ourselves, the Wolfpack and the Bucs, to be long-living, rooted members because I think that's one thing now the league's going to found on and grow on and, continue on from there. So for those tuning in, you can always get your podcasts through us, through Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you get your podcasts. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you want to help support the show, you can help buy myself and Teej a coffee. We're young dads, just trying to live off as what little sleep we can, right? So it helps us out there. And as well, like, subscribe, comment, all the good things. We love to stir the pot and make sure that everyone has their nice, warm, juicy content to head into practice and games every week. All right. Take care, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys. Thanks.